Since I started hearing voices years ago, I have had many uncanny experiences where I feel alone, terrified, ostracized, and unable to cope with what was happening to me. I used to hear the absolute most wretched voices, accompanied by terrifying visions of what could go wrong, which fueled a lot of past self-destructive tendencies. The bad voices used to remind me every day of the inescapable decay of my organic vessel, the torment of living in my thought loops, and mocking me every time I wanted to scream out for someone to listen. The traumas would flash before my eyes like a grotesque and hypnotic carnival of mockery. In what felt like a miraculous twist of fate, I began to spend many nights scribbling on pieces of paper and trying to understand why I felt this pain so deeply. That's when the more comforting voices began to come around. I began hearing this whisper beyond my own voice in my head telling me to actually understand why I felt afraid, alone, scared, and terrified of existence. Doing this was painful. It was like staring into the void of myself, but in that experience I started to grow a new empathy and compassion for life. I heard positive voices telling me life was absurd and comical, but I'm also allowed to enjoy the ride. The turning point was when I realized in life if you try too hard to be happy, you feel empty and alone, and the same if you hurt yourself out of frustration. It's about balancing both. Suddenly, I saw life differently, and that affected my healing. I noticed that life wasn't just pain and terror, but beauty and tenderness too. Sometimes something bad happens and you learn something positive from it, and sometimes something good happens but you notice the bad in it too. It showed me life is paradoxical in nature and everything has polarities to it. The voices emphasized that the colorful spectrum between both extremes are what make life itself so diverse, beautiful, complex, and balanced. This new mindset gave me room to forgive myself for my mistakes I have made and inspired me to grow in an authentic way where I can live with schizophrenia but also integrate with society. I was no longer picking teams. I was now living the best of both worlds, and for the first time, I felt like I mattered. The pressure was off my back and I could finally carve my way as the person I was born to be.